Well, hey ManCavians, we're going to do part 2 of how to build a hidden shelf model railroad in your man cave or wherever you want to put it. In this episode, we're going to cover how to put your shelving brackets on and mount that all to your wall. And then from there, we got other steps to do. Which includes putting in a board across the bottom and then putting in your foam on top of that, and so forth as they go through this process. So I'm going to show you how to put those brackets on the wall. Let's do it right now. Okay, the first thing you need to do is put your cleat, which is a 2x4, up on the wall. Well, you got to find the studs first, so use a stud finder. Once you find the studs and you mark them on the wall, preferably right about where you want your shelf to start at, so you don't have to paint over it or erase it or whatever. Also transfer those marks to the piece of wood. Why? Because you're going to pre-drill using your drill and a 1/8 inch bit into the wood where the screws are going to go. So you need 2 screws per stud, top and bottom. And I'm going to be using the number 10 3.5 inch wood screw, and you need a number 3 apex bit to screw it in with. A number 2 will just strip it, and you won't get mad and blame me. So use number 3. Also, once you do that, screw it into the wall. Screw one end of it in the wall. Make sure you have your height measured where you want it. Find the perfect place for it. Screw in that first screw. Once you do that, get out your level and make sure that that 2x4 is level. Go down to the other end, using your level, find where you need to screw it in, screw in the other end. Now you got 2 screws on both ends, you can screw all the rest of them in and it should remain nice and straight. Make sure you get a nice straight 2x4, that really helps. After you do that, you need to go and get your double hung, double wide bracket with double slots, because you're going to cut 3 slot widths off, and you're going to need these for your brackets. I used a Dremel with a cutting wheel on it. I didn't cut all the way through it because it took forever, but what I did is I scored a line where I wanted it and made a little gouge in the metal. And then I took a hacksaw and cut the rest of it off. And then kind of ground off any little burrs that were on the edges, and so you didn't cut yourself later. After you cut your pieces for your brackets, you need to drill holes in them. Well, they already come with holes in certain places, so you may not have to do that. But in case you have to drill 2 holes, well, drill right in the center of these spaces between there, and use a 1/8 inch drill bit, because that's the perfect size for this screw. Once you have those done, you take your 2 inch number 10 screw, because you don't need a 3.5 in this case. You just need to go through the bracket and into the 2x4 using a number 3 bit. In the corners, if you got a corner where you got 2x4s meeting up, I found an easy way to put that first screw in and get the second one in without having 2 people help you, if you don't have 2 people. basically, I took a scrap piece of wood, a little 3/4 inch piece of wood, put a screw in it, take that and screw it right on the top of your 2x4 that you're trying to mount, and just a little over the edge so you have some sort of lip there, and you just rest that end of it on the other 2x4 while you're screwing in the other end of it. And using your level, you make sure everything's level and move on to screwing that other board in, and so forth and so forth. And all the different cleats are already put in, and you can start putting in all your bracket mounts with the 2-inch screws, and you're ready for the next step. So I'm going to show you what it looks like right now. So ManCavians, that's been part 2 of how to build a floating shelf railroad layout extension, or the whole thing if you were making one that big. Part 3 is going to go over the next step, which is putting in the plywood underneath and mounting it to the brackets, and also a little treat there, I'm putting up the helix, mounting the helix on the wall, and I'm going to show you how I do that. So stay tuned for part 3, and if you like what you saw here and want to get notified of other videos that I make, subscribe. Click on one of these other links to these other videos to go on to the third video if you'd like, or go back to the first video if you want to do that, or check out my channel and see some of the other stuff like reviews and ManCave visits to train shows and other railroads. There's a lot of stuff that I do. So, as always, ManCavians, happy model railroading, and stay off the tracks. Bye.